Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So glad you're here. So glad you're joining us online. We'll start seated today, a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. So you can be feet under opposite knees. If you brought a prop or you're at home and have a block or a cushion, you could be sitting up on a cushion. A little more traditional tantric seat is to stack our heels with our right heel in first and our left heel in front, but only if that's comfortable on your hips. What's important is that your spine can feel long and your thighs can feel relaxed and your breath can feel big. Hand placement wherever you like. And today we focus on being gentle. Pema Chodron in her book, The Wisdom of No Escape, says the innocent mistake that keeps us caught in our own particular style of ignorance, unkindness, and shutdownness is that we are never encouraged to see clearly what is with gentleness. And on our mat, right, that can mean not being gentle with ourselves or having our legs in a certain position, not being able to do a pose like the person next to us or like we could in our body at a different time. And off our mat, right, that means a lot. I've always been taught that our life is reflected on our mat. So can we meet ourselves with gentleness outside of our mat as well? Let's take an inventory of our bodies and look for a spot that might need a little extra gentleness today. Just accepting it how it is. Maybe it's a sassy shoulder, a little muscle tension, maybe another joint that doesn't always act as we want it to. How can you send gentleness to the precise place that it's needed? Just accepting it for what it is. Begin to deepen your breaths in and out through your nose and feeling your body expand front to back and side to side on the inhale. Let the breath be curious. Are you finding any more spots that could use a little extra attention, a little extra gentleness today? And maybe not just at the totally physical level, right? Maybe there's a grief, a sadness that could use a little extra gentleness today. Maybe a worry or an anxiety that might live in your chest that makes it feel a little lighter than normal, right? That little worry, that little lift. Can you send gentleness there? Begin to bring a little bit of movement to your head, letting the head fall front to back and side to side. Bringing space into the neck. You could turn the head side to side, maybe open and shut the jaw a few times or move the jaw side to side. Release the arms, stretch the wrists, stretch the fingers. Move the shoulders. And then let's move our feet into a Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees heavy on the side, and give the bottoms of your feet a little bit of love right here. The intensity of this pose is controlled by how far your feet are away from your pelvis, right? So you can have your feet way out here. They could be right in next to the pelvis, anywhere in between, right? So give your feet a little bit of love. And then having our hands on our feet or on your legs, if that's more comfortable, we're just going to explore a little bit here. Moving the torso a little front to back, a little side to side, maybe in some super gentle circles. Kind of that same thought as we're moving here, like where can we bring a little more gentleness, a little more softness? We're just looking to realize what is rather than changing. Right? Back to center here. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, we'll find a forward fold. You could have your hands on your legs. You could have your hands on the floor. You could have forearms on the floor. Wherever you're at today, no pain. If you get on the edge of pain, then you want to back off 10%. Yoga does its job best when your body feels safe. And if you feel pain, your body will not open. So your body wants to protect itself, right? Just want to feel safe, no pain. Push your hands into the floor to bring yourself vertical. Use your hands to close your knees like a book, cross the feet, and then big hands in front of us on the mat, coming up into a tabletop. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips, fingers spread nice and wide. That protects the wrists. And we'll just move through a few cow-cats here to start. So on the inhale, belly drops towards the mat, hips and head float to the sky. And then on the exhale, reverse. Back of the heart floats, hips and head hang heavy. Let's stay here for a couple breaths and just let gravity traction out our neck a little bit. Gently bringing space to the neck and the jaw. Continue movement when you're ready. Inhaling, lengthening the front body. Exhaling, lengthening the back body. Back and forth at your own pace with your own breath. And then if you'd like to add a little bit of your own movement here, you sure could do that. You could take the hips and the shoulders a little more side to side, a little bit in a spiral. You can move the weight a little back, a little forward. Just pay attention, however your body would like to be moved today. Accepting what is and working with it. Kind of like, kind of like when you make dinner at home, right? And you don't want to go to the store. Just accept what is. What's in the pantry, what's in the fridge. That's what you've got to work with. No big deal. Come back to neutral. We'll take that right leg straight back and the left arm forward. If this is a lot, you can leave that left hand on the floor if you like. Again, right finger spread nice and wide here and finding some gentleness in that right shoulder. And to do that best, you want your shoulder in its home, right? So it's not pushed too far away from you and it's not up by your ear. It's where it feels the most strong. Back foot is flexed like you're gonna shoot a laser beam out of that right heel. And then let's explore a little bit here. What happens if you move the weight a little bit back and a little bit forward? What happens if you raise and lower the leg and arm a bit, maybe one at a time, maybe both together? What happens if you move the leg and arm a bit out to the side, a bit front to back? Explore a little bit here. Just finding what is. Back to neutral. Inhale here. Exhale to release the hand and the knee down. Take the knees a little wide, bring the toes together, send the hips back for a child's pose. You could have your forehead on the floor. Some of you might have your chest to the floor. It's more comfortable. You could even be up on your forearms, whatever works for your body today. Feeling your low back rise and fall with your breath, bringing some space there. All right. Other side. So back up to tabletop. Let's go through a few more cow cats here because they feel so good. Just inhale, belly drops, hips and head float. Exhale, heart floats, hips and head hang. Few more rounds at your pace. Okay, back to neutral. This time that left leg goes back and the right arm forward. Again, if this is a lot, the right hand can stay on the floor. That's totally fine. Check in with the left shoulder. Make sure it's where it feels the strongest. Back foot flex, nice and strong. And then play. Send the weight a little forward, a little back. You can lower and raise the limbs. You can bring the limbs out to the side. Noticing all the different parts of your core that are activated as you change positions of the limbs. Couple more breaths here. Working as hard as you care to. Bring the hand and knee back down. We'll bring the knees wide again, the toes together. Back for a child's pose, just for a couple breaths here. Maybe in this child's pose, you want to sway the hips a little bit side to side. Make your way back up to tabletop and then up to your knees for kneeling mountain. The knees are hips width distance, spine nice and tall. Shoulders relaxed. Let's tuck our toes for a little extra stability. Keep a nice long line from your knees to the top of your head. On the inhale, we're going to lean slightly back. And on the exhale, come back up to where you started. Back and forth with your breath. So a few different options here. You can have your arms at your side. If you want to make it a little bit easier on the back, you can bring the arms forward. So it's a little counterbalance here. If you want to make this more difficult on the core, you could bring your arms overhead. And of course, then you decide how far back to go. Right? There's a lot going on here. Make sure everything feels safe. You're here to nurture yourself, not to beat yourself up. Nurturing can also mean building strength and stability. Next time you're back, we're going to hold there and breathe. Again, you decide how far back and stay nice and long. Take deep, controlled breaths in and out through the nose, using the full range of your lungs. Slowly come on up to vertical. We're going to take our right leg forward into a lunge. Sink the hips forward, so we're bringing space to the front of the left hip. And today we'll bring the arms overhead. Soft shoulders, strong arms. And then from the waist up, we're going to do a slight lean forward here. So to put more weight on that front leg. And a little dynamic movement. So on the inhale, we'll touch the fingertips overhead. Exhale behind the back. Inhale overhead. Exhale behind the back. One more time, maybe with your eyes closed. Inhale overhead. Maybe the fingers don't get quite as close. Exhale behind the back. Perfect. Inhale, bring yourself vertical. Another really gentle but strong push forward, making some space in that left hip. On your next exhale, we straighten that front leg, bring the hands to the mat, maybe fingertips, hands to the leg, maybe fingertips to the mat. And sometimes in this half split, I like to explore a little bit of movement with the front foot. Maybe just try to see what it feels like to do a little windshield wiper movement with those toes, with that foot. Just getting into the right hip socket a little bit. Then sinking into some stillness, lengthening this whole string of connective tissue. On your next inhale, we'll send the hips forward, plant the left hand next to the right foot, and inhale, open that right arm to the sky. Let's give our right wrists a few circles while we're here, stretch the fingers a bit. On your next exhale, we'll turn towards the mat, hands frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, step back to a plank, and we'll slowly lower down. You can go knees first if you like, or the whole body together. Let's keep your hands where they are today. Flip the feet, pull forward and up into a low cobra. So your forehead is pulling forward as your toes are pulling back. So you're long and then light. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift again. Exhale, lower down. Back and forth with your breath a few times, but keeping yourself very long. Maybe the next time you lift your legs, lift a bit too. Back and forth with your breath. That core goes all the way around. Gotta strengthen the back muscles too. Next inhale, we lift. Let's hold here for a couple breaths. Lower down, make a pillow under your forehead with your hands. Bend the knees and treat yourself to some windshield wipers here with the lower legs. Windshield wipers are your low back's best friends. Come back to center, lower the legs, bring the hands under the shoulders, and push yourself back up to a tabletop. From here, we lift the torso, come back to a kneeling mountain. Let's bring our arms out to cactus, fingers spread nice and wide, elbows pulling away from each other. So really taking up a lot of space here horizontally. You can tuck the toes for a little extra stability. On the inhale, we'll raise the collarbones a bit. Exhale, relax the back, and let's just stay here for a few breaths. We don't have to go into a huge back bend. We're just opening up this tissue across the chest, giving our heart and lungs a little more room to move, do their jobs. Slowly come back to neutral, and we'll bring the left leg forward this time. Sink the hips forward, bringing some space to the front of the right hip. Arms overhead. Strong arms, soft shoulders. Soft, not pulled down. I hear pulled down a lot, but that's also tension, right? I don't want tension. I just want your shoulders hanging out. Okay, here comes that lean, slight lean forward. Some more weight in that front legs. Front leg is really strong. Inhale, touch fingertips overhead. Exhale behind the back. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, maybe try with your eyes closed. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, come on up. One last sink forward here. And on your next exhale, going into that half split, Ardha Hanumasana. And hands can be up on the leg or down on the floor. Okay if one side's different from the other, no big deal. Might want to start with a little windshield wiper movement in that front foot, just getting into different parts of the glute muscle and the hip socket. Settle into some stillness when you're ready. You decide how heavy the torso is. When you're ready, we'll set the hips forward, plant the right hand, bring the left arm to the sky. Let's give the left wrist a little bit of love here, a couple circles, stretch the fingers. Turn towards the mat, frame that front foot, tuck the back toes, step back to plank. We'll lower all the way down again. Again, the knees can come first and you can lower down, or you can lower everything down together. Take your time. And this time the hands are going to come to the outside of the mat, tenting the fingers on the ground. Flip the feet, tops of the feet push into the mat, upper body pulls forward and up for a low, wide cobra. Holding here for a few breaths, and building some strength in the back. And then feel free to add a little bit of movement here, which can feel so nice in this pose. Slithering side to side. You can add some shoulder circles in here. You can move the head side to side. Whatever feels great in your body. And if that's stillness, that's totally fine too. Inhale, come back to neutral. Exhale, lower down, bring the hands under the shoulders, tuck your toes, push up to tabletop, and then hips up for our first downward dog of class. So downward dog is a back stretch. We're looking for a nice long line from your fingertips to your tailbone. It does not matter if your legs are bent or straight. It doesn't matter if your heels touch the floor or not. Just looking for a long line. from the fingertips to the tailbone, even a little bit of a pull from your chest to the fronts of your ankles, right? So a little this, but you still want your shoulders to be in a really strong place. From here, we're going to walk our hands back to our feet. Give yourself a forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you like here. You could have your elbows up on your knees if that feels best. You could have your hands down on the floor, fingertips on the floor, anywhere in between. I'm looking to bring space to the low back. And then push the feet down into the mat. Arms come out and up. Hands together, little back bend, gaze at the thumbs. Bring the hands down to heart center and then to your side, mountain pose. Notice where the weight is in your feet. You want to even front to back and side to side. Little baby bends in the knees, feeling really strong and supported and long, top of the head pulling up. And from here, we're going to take a big step forward with our right foot into a high lunge. So all 10 toes are pointing forwards. The back heel is off the mat. Pay attention to how the weight is distributed on that front foot. You want to even left to right, so that knee is straight forward, not caving in or out. Mine likes to cave in, so I really have to keep an eye on. All right, arms up, strong arms, soft shoulders. And we're going to mimic that movement that we did in low lunge, a little tougher this time. Lean forward. You decide how far. Here we go. Inhale, fingertips overhead. Exhale, behind the back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Hardest one. Third one's with the eyes closed. Ready? Inhale, forward. Exhale, behind. Inhale, bring yourself vertical. A little back bend here, just a little open. And then let's bend the back knee a bit, maybe just a couple inches. If you're looking for more intensity tonight, that could hover right over the floor if you like. Big breaths. Inhale. Exhale, frame the front foot with the hands and step back to a downward dog. This time, let's explore a little bit of movement in downward dog, bending one knee at a time, maybe looking under the opposite arm of the bent knee. Walk the hands back to the feet for your forward fold. This time, maybe we do hands to opposite elbows. So we're really letting the weight of the upper body bring space to the low back. But just letting ourselves be heavy, not pushing down. Push the feet down into the mat, arms come out and up. Hands together, gaze at the thumbs, tiny back bend, hands to heart center, down at the side, mountain. Kind of a nice thing to practice even when you're like in line at the grocery store, right? How's the weight on the feet? Can you put little tiny bends in the knees? Can the spine be nice and long? Shoulders relaxed? Big step forward with the left leg this time, high lunge. Set yourself up for success, adjust as needed. Knee forward, back leg strong, arms up. Okay, lean forward. Inhale, fingertips overhead. Exhale, behind the back. Inhale. Slow and strong and controlled. So we're using strength and not momentum, right? We're not just throwing our arms up. Last time, eyes closed if that's comfortable. It might be a little wobbly, that's okay. Get to know your ankle a little bit. Inhale, come on up. Little back bend, and then maybe put a bend in that back knee. Maybe just a couple inches, maybe a little more. Collarbones stay light, like they're pulling towards the ceiling. Your legs are working hard here. Safely. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, frame the front foot with the hands. We'll step back to another downward dog here. A little bit of movement, a little bit of stillness, whatever feels nice. And then we'll set the knees to the mat, cross the feet, come up to seated. And let's bring our legs a bit wide. If you'd like to be sitting on a block or even your mat folded up, that could get the hips up a little bit, make it a little easier. But if the legs are a bit bent here, no big deal. So we're going to turn towards the right foot. Inhale, lengthen to the spine. Exhale, fold, nose towards the knee. Maybe to the knee, who knows? Just going in that direction. Again, keeping the spine long. Push the hands down to bring yourself vertical. Turn to the left foot. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward, nose towards the knee. Push the hands down to bring yourself to vertical. Take your weight behind you a bit. We're going to give ourselves some more windshield wipers here, this time of the feet. Take the weight off the hands. Windshield wiper to the right. Set your hands to the right so that left hip is going to come up off the ground a little bit. So it's a bit of a twist here. Set that left hip down, come back to center, feet over to the left, hands to the outside of the left thigh. Lift that right hip, a little bit of a twist. Come on up, back to center, going to the other side again, right where you were. So you can stay here. This is a great place to be. If you want a little more of a challenge, we lift the hips. Lower the hips down, come back to center. Windshield wiper to the left, hands to the left, right hip off the ground, maybe both hips off the ground. Hips down, back to center, bend the knees, bring the feet on the floor. We're going to lower down to our backs, but we're going to take our time. So send the weight a little bit back for a boat. And you can keep your feet on the floor here. You could raise them up. Again, either one is fine. But wherever you're at, I'd like you to play with alternating feet. So if the feet are on the floor, what happens if you lift one up and then the other? Maybe they both go to the floor first before you lift up. If you have both up, maybe you're just tapping the floor. Just playing, being gentle still on the low back though. We're just here to have fun. Just be happy you don't have to talk while you're doing this, right? All right. And from wherever you're at, we're going to slowly lower to our backs. You could have your feet on the floor and lower. If you want more of a challenge, you can have the feet up and lower. Once you're there, just bring the arms out to the side, soles of the feet on the floor a little wider than hips width distance. And you guessed it, more windshield wipers. This time is of the knees, lowering the knees to the left and right at whatever pace feels great. Sometimes I like to take the top knee that's bent and pull it away from my face a little bit. Can add a little bit of a stretch, an extra stretch. Next time your knees are to the left, you'll hang out right there, turn the face to the right, and just let everything be heavy here for a few breaths. Everything up to center, a few more windshield wipers here. Next time the knees are to the right, hang out there, face to the left. Again, everything's just heavy, not pushed down, just soft. Come up to center. We'll bring the outside of the right ankle on top of the left knee. Right knee heavy, so going into a reclined pigeon. If you're already feeling a good stretch in the right hip, you could stay right here. Otherwise, from the waist down, we bring everything in towards the chest. Maybe the hands interlace behind the left thigh, maybe in front of the left shin. If your right knee feels like it would like a little extra support, you can flex that right foot a bit more. If your right hip would like a little more stretch, you could put an arch in the low back, just a little one, just tilting the pelvis a little bit away. Release both feet up towards the ceiling. Give the feet and ankles a little bit of love. Spread the toes. Maybe get some good cracks out, the ankles and feet. And then we'll set the right foot on the floor outside of the left ankle on top of the right knee. Left knee is heavy. An option to bring everything in. Again, flex the left foot if you need a little more support for the left knee, and you can arch the low back if you want a little more stretch in the hip. Release both feet up towards the ceiling and then back stretch of your choice. You could bring your knees into your chest. Or if you have a happy baby in your practice, that's a great option too. Either one of those, feel free to rock a bit side to side using your body weight to massage your low back and your kidneys. Just be playful with it. Getting ready to go into our resting pose for a few minutes. If there's another pose or movement that your body would like before you're ready to relax, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we'll bring our feet to hips width distance, toes hang out to the side, arms down at the side, a bit away from the body, palms up. Sometimes I like to tuck my shoulder blades under so they really feel secure. Letting your body be heavy and supported by the earth. I'll read the rest of this Pema Chodron quote here. So again, she says, the innocent mistake that keeps us caught in our own particular style of ignorance, unkindness, and shutdownness is that we are never encouraged to see clearly what is with gentleness. Instead, there's a kind of basic misunderstanding that we should try to be better than we already are. We should try to improve ourselves, that we should try to get away from painful things, and that if we could just learn how to get away from the painful things, then we would be happy. Meditation is about seeing clearly the body that we have, the mind that we have, the domestic situation that we have, the job that we have, the people who are in our lives. It's about seeing how we react to all of those things. It's seeing our emotions and thoughts just as they are right now, in this very moment, in this very room, on this very seat. It's not about trying to make them go away, not trying to become better than we are, but just seeing clearly with precision and gentleness. She goes to say later on, I'll paraphrase, but basically it's not saying that you have to put up with everything, right? But it's just once you can look at a situation, whether that's physical, emotional, mentally, spiritually, you can look at a situation with precision and gentleness. It's also a little easier to release if needed. And begin to bring a little bit of movement back into your body, deepen your breath. Maybe turn your head side to side, wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll yourself over to your right hand side. Take a breath or two there, breathing in the wisdom of our practice and the wisdom of Pema Chodron. Breathing out anything you'd like to let go today. When you're ready, make your way up to a comfortable seat, hands at heart center. Thank you so much for joining me today to share your practice and your energy with me and with each other. Peace starts within. That means the whole world benefits of it because you took the time for yoga today. May we go ahead this next week with a little more gentleness to ourselves and to others. Namaste. Thank you so much. Thank you.